If anyone has seen the movie Body of Lies, it's fiction, of course, it's Hollywood, but it illustrates a very interesting difference in approach to the subject of Islamic extremism. The approach taken in the West generally is attack them and nail them in other countries and do everything you can to legally deal with them here in the West, i.e. you have to prepare a court case against them, you have to take them to court, give them a trial, and the penalties are generally fairly light. In most of the Islamic world, especially in the Arab world, it's kind of the other way around. They tend to sort of take responsibility for the ones that are sort of causing trouble in their own country. And the methods are generally extrajudicial and harsh, including torture, execution, summary arrest, threats, intimidation, this kind of thing. Now, one of the interesting things about the Arab world is that just about every single one of them uses as a justification for their rule of their countries their harshness with Islamic extremists. It's generally, Arab politics don't work the same as ours. It's generally an understanding between the ruler and the ruled. It's not a harsh iron dictatorship like one might think. Iraq was an exception to that, and Syria is as well, but even they had limitations. They were sort of juggling competing interests within their own society, just like any other Arab government was. And even though Syria supports in its foreign policy a lot of countries that are run by Islamic extremists, apparently Iran and Sudan, domestically they crack down with unmitigated severity against Islamic extremists. Why? Because the population expects it. It's interesting that people think that the Arabs in particular are soft on Islamic extremists, when actually, if anything, they think that we are soft on Islamic extremists. You ask the average Arab, and there's simply one way to deal with people like this. You arrest them, you take them into a dungeon, you do all kinds of wretched things to them and keep them there, or you just kill them. Now, this is what generally happens in countries like Algeria or Egypt or Jordan or Syria, especially Syria, to the point where Syria, and to a lesser extent Algeria, has become something of a dumping ground for suspected Islamic extremists arrested in Western countries. You can't torture them here, but if you want to get information out of them, if you want them to be treated harshly, you hand them over to the Syrians, because the Syrians are willing to go much further than the West is in dealing harshly with these people. And this is one of the great gulfs, again, that exists between the West and the Islamic world. Each one thinks that the other side is messing up the war on terror. The Islamic world believes that the West is being milquetoast, or perhaps using the extremists for their own purposes, as they did in Afghanistan in fighting the Soviet Union. So it's not altogether an unjustified position, or continue to do in Saudi Arabia, backing this medieval government that is essentially made up of extremists. So each side distrusts the motives of the other in this case, but each side has a vested interest in fighting Islamic extremism. I mentioned in another thread in the comments section, where would you rather be? Would you rather be in the dungeon of the security forces of Syria, the Mukhabarat, same as the Iraqis had, or would you rather be in Guantanamo Bay or Sing Sing? There's a reason for that. Arabs actually tend to see Islamic extremists as just plain scum. They tend to see them the same way that you and I might see the KKK or the crazier and more wild of the skinheads. They talk all this nationalistic talk and everything, but they don't represent anybody, and all that they really want to do is cause trouble. It's interesting that each side believes that the other one is being half-hearted in fighting extremism. One should remember that when one is accusing the Arabs of being soft on Islamism, or at least harsh Islamism, Islamic extremism. They think the same way about us. Thank you.